If you missed part 1, here's what you need to know. Sumbo is 26, educated, working, living alone in a Lagos neighborhood full of area boys. One of them, Dre, was different, consistent, respectful, genuinely caring. When she was sick, he took care of her without being asked. He told her he liked her, but knew they weren't in the same world. They became friends. And then she let that friendship become something more. And Dre has told his entire street that she is his wife. He calls constantly. He shows up unannounced. When she finally told him she never agreed to a relationship, he looked her dead in the eyes and said he would rather lose his life than lose her. Now she has met someone new. Someone she actually sees a future with, someone educated, successful, the kind of man she imagined for herself. But she can't even let him visit her house because Dre is outside and his boys are on every corner. Welcome to part 2. His name doesn't matter for this story. He was tall, good-looking in a clean, put-together way. But it wasn't just the physical. He was educated, had built something real for himself, spoke with the kind of calm confidence that comes from a man who knows his own worth without needing to announce it. He met Sumbo through a mutual friend at a small gathering. He approached her properly. No games, no vagueness. He was interested and he said so. He asked for her number, he called when he said he would call, he took her to dinner and actually listened when she talked. She liked him, genuinely, not the complicated, guilty, confused way she felt about Dre. This was simple. This felt like the beginning of something that could actually go somewhere. And then he asked if he could visit her at home. Her stomach dropped. She said her area was rough. He said that was fine. He didn't mind. She said no, it's really not great for visitors. He asked why. She said it's just not safe. He was confused, but he let it go. Because how could she tell him the truth? How do you explain to a man you are just getting to know that there is another man, a street tout specifically, who has claimed you as his wife and whose entire network of area boys would immediately report to him the moment any unfamiliar car pulled up outside her gate? You don't. You just say the area is rough and you hope he accepts it. He accepted it, for now. Let's go back to Dre for a moment because it's important you understand what obsessed actually looked like in this situation. The calls were constant, but always framed as concern. You don't eat? How work today? It's late, you reach. Each one individual was harmless. Together they formed a cage. If she didn't pick up, he called again and again, and then he would appear at her door, face neutral, just checking on her. He still did kind things. That was the confusing part. He still paid attention to her needs. He still made sure she was okay, but it had cuddled into something possessive. The kindness had become a currency he was spending to hold her in place. She tried to pull back gradually, replied messages slower, kept conversations shorter, was busy when he came around. He noticed everything. One evening, he sat down with her and asked, quietly, "Are you avoiding me?" She said no, she was just tired. He looked at her for a long moment and said, "Okay, just know that I'm not going anywhere." He didn't say it as a comfort, he said it as information. And she lay awake that night thinking about what that meant. She tried one more time to end it properly. She sat him down, looked him in the eyes, and said everything she had rehearsed. She was kind about it. She acknowledged what they had shared. She didn't pretend it meant nothing, but she was clear. She needed them to go back to being just neighbors, just people who knew each other in the area, nothing more. He listened to everything she said, and when she was done, he was quiet for what felt like a very long time. Then he said, "I hear you, but I want you to also hear me. I'm not going to fight you, I'm not going to force you, but Sumbo, I would rather not be in this world than be in a world where you belong to someone else." She asked him directly, "Is that a threat?" He looked almost hurt by the question. "No, it's just the truth. That's just how I feel." And the problem, the terrifying, complicated problem, was that she believed him. This wasn't a calculated manipulation. Dre was not a manipulative man. He was a man who grew up on the street, where feelings were expressed simply and directly, where you said what you meant and you meant what you said. He wasn't trying to scare her. He was just telling her the truth about his emotional state. But the result was the same. She was afraid of what he might do. Not to her, she believed he would never physically harm her, but to himself or to anyone else who entered her life. Here is where Sumbo's situation becomes something more than just an emotional problem. It becomes a logistical nightmare. Her rent is due. It's time to move on anyway. The apartment was always meant to be temporary, a stepping stone while she sorted herself out. And with everything going on, moving feels not just desirable, but necessary. A new address, a clean start, a place where Dre doesn't know every corner. The new man in her life, kind, generous, genuinely invested, offered to help her find somewhere better. He has contacts. He can help with the deposit. This was supposed to be easy. But here is the problem. To move out of a Lagos apartment, you need a truck. And every truck driver who operates in her area is connected to those streets, which means connected to Dre. These are his people, his network. The moment a truck pulls up to her gate and starts loading her furniture, 3 phone calls will have been made before the first box is outside. And Dre will know she is leaving, and he will want to know where she is going. She tried going outside the area. She found a truck company from a different part of Lagos, someone completely unconnected to the network. But they quoted her a price that made her blink twice. The distance, they said, the traffic, the loading, it added up to a number her account was not ready for. She tried negotiating. The price came down, but not enough. She is stuck. In her apartment, in this area, on this street, because living costs money she doesn't have, and staying costs a peace of mind she already lost. In the meantime, she is living 2 separate lives. In one life, she is going to work, building a connection with a man she genuinely likes, having phone calls that go late into the night because neither of them wants to hang up, imagining a version of the future that actually excites her. In the other life, she is walking carefully out of her gate every morning, greeting Dre's boys with a neutral face, answering Dre's calls so that he doesn't come knocking, pretending that everything is fine and she is not planning anything and nothing is changing. The new man has started to sense that something is off. Not with her feelings, he can tell she is genuine, but there's something she's not telling him. He's not pushing, but she can feel the question sitting between them on every date. She almost told him once, got to the edge of the story, and then pulled back. Because how do you tell a man who is considering a future with you that your past is literally standing on the street outside your house with 10 friends and a phone that never runs out of battery? She hasn't told him, and every day she doesn't, the secret grows heavier. I want to be careful here because it would be easy to sit back and say, Sumbo brought this on herself. And yes, she made a choice. She is the first to admit that. She knows she let something go farther than it should have. She knows she ignored the warnings in her own chest because she was lonely and he was kind. And those 2 things together are genuinely dangerous. But here is what I want to say. Loneliness is not a character flaw. It is a human condition, And kindness, real, consistent, unglamorous kindness, is rare. Rare enough that when you find it in an unexpected place, it can override every sensible thought in your head. Sumbo didn't fall for a tout. She fell for a man who showed up for her when nobody else did. The problem was that the man came with a world attached to him, a world she hadn't fully reckoned with. And now she is reckoning. She is not in physical danger. She believes Dre would not harm her, but she is emotionally hostage to a situation she doesn't know how to exit cleanly. She needs money she doesn't have. She needs a plan she hasn't found yet.
And she needs to do all of it quietly, carefully, without triggering a man who has told her that losing her might cost him his will to live. That is not a small thing to carry. So I'll ask you what I asked at the end of part 1, but differently this time. Not what should she do, but have you ever been here? Have you ever been in a situation where the exit was clear, but the path to it was blocked by something you couldn't fully control? Because more people are living this story than are willing to talk about it. And sometimes just hearing that someone else has been in the same place, the same silent, careful, exhausting place, is enough to help you take the next step. Sumbo is taking her steps, one at a time. If this story resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more stories like this, and drop your thoughts in the comments. What would you do if you were her? See you in the next one.